Well, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. This past 2 days, I got to go to a flea market. It was touted as the biggest flea market in the world. It is First Monday Trades Days in Canton, Texas. It has been at least 11 years since I had a chance to go to First Monday Trades Days, and my wife and I had a blast. I'm going to show you my tool haul from this weekend, and then I'm going to roll in some video clips of First Monday Trades Days for anybody that wants to go. If you're a tool collector or a collector of knickknacks or whatever, you can spend an entire week there and not see everything. We spent 8 hours the first day and 10 hours the second day and only saw a little less than half of it. So my goal was if it didn't fit in my backpack, it wasn't going home with me. Probably wasn't the best idea because I still spent quite a bit of money. So I'm gonna lay everything out and I'll show you what I got. Okay, y'all can laugh if you want to, because like I said, I probably spent too much. I was very excited, and this was the first time in a long time I got to go. So the very first thing that I got was this. It is a Bell Systems file card. He wanted 12 bucks for it. I asked if he'd do it for 8. He told me that it came with this cover, which I didn't know it came with a cover, and so I got it for 10 bucks. I thought it was cool, so I gave him the 10 bucks. Bell Systems, very cool. The second thing I got, honestly don't need it, I just thought it was cool, and it's Reed Manufacturing. It's a pipe threader. Reed makes some really quality tools. I know they make great vices. So because of the name alone and the fact that I got it for, he wanted 15 and I talked him down to 8. Because I bought multiple things from him, I got this for 8. I got all of these screwdrivers, which I'm going to be taking the handles off of these and putting them on files. All of these screwdrivers. And this cheese box for an additional 5 bucks. The next 2 items that I got are some rusty Kreuter needle nose. They've been wrapped in wire and they need some love, but they are Kreuter USA, was that 1671-5, I think, and then a pair of scissors. So for the both of these I gave, it was 3 bucks. Next 3 items I got were insulators. You can say he wanted, or you can see he wanted $8 a piece for them. I did not give $8 a piece for them. I think I gave him, what was it? I gave him 12 for the 3 of them. The next item I got, I'm going to save for the end because it wasn't something I really needed. I just thought it was really cool, and I'm going to save it for towards the end, not the very end, but towards the end. These next few items I got for $10. And you can see this is marked 15. This one's wore out. I think they wanted 6 for it, and they wanted 3 for this funky looking hammer pick hatchet thing. I don't even know what this is. I know it is some kind of axe hatchet, but I'm going to find out for sure. I'd never seen one before, and it looked like a cool restoration project, so that's what it is. This is a Ford, and this is also a Ford. I have never seen 2 closed-end wrenches and an open-ended wrench on the same tool, so I got it. Thought it was pretty cool. So for these 3 items, I was gonna offer her 15, but she popped off and said 10 before I got 15 out of my mouth, and I was like, okay, we'll do that. From there, I got this and some other items. From what I understand, this is a saw tool. I think you clamp your saw in it, and you can file on it or whatnot. She has it marked at $10. I got this W&B wrench. She has it marked at $5. I got this W&B wrench. She has it marked at $10. I got this adjustable 10-inch wrench, which is marked at $16. It is a Pexto and Wilcox. I think I might know somebody who's going to want that. She has it marked, like I said, $16. I then found this. I'd never seen one before. Of course, I've seen an adjustable wrench, but this is a 1/2 x 8. It is made in Germany, and it is FWK, Fuchs Tool Company. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not, but thought it was cool, and I got it. Still not done with what I got from her. This is E.C. Stearns Co. Thought it was cool. And it is out of somewhere in New York. Strauss, New York? Can't really make that out. Oh, I think I know who these are going to. I also found these from her. I had never heard of this brand before. Oh, I forgot to tell you what she had marked on these, but they were, anywhere from $5 to $15. She wanted $4 for these, and it is a Wild slip wrench. Can't make out everything, but it says Wild in cursive on it. Then I got these 2 from her as well. Very cool plumb bobs, steel tip, and I think these are brass. She wanted $20 for this one, and this is no markings that I can see on it, but this one does have markings. She wanted $15 for this one, and it says NHO. Oh no, hold on. Oh, somebody stamped their name in it. It just says John on there. So, anyways, for that whole lot, I gave $50 for this here. Probably too much, but I couldn't pass it up. All of that was day 1. Day 2, I went back to the lady where I just got those tools from because she had a Mobile T crank, and I thought it was cool, and she only wanted, I think, $14 for it. I figured if I bought some other stuff like I did before, I could talk her down, but she was packing up, headed back to Kansas, so I got a couple other things from her. My first legit anvil is a little tiny thing. She was asking $20 for it, and then I thought this was very cool. Little velvet smoke tin, pipe and cigarette tobacco. She wanted $6 for that. I gave her $18 for both. Probably too much, but it was cool. Like I said, I was having a lot of fun this weekend, and I think it was well worth it. From there, I found some more screwdrivers and a nut driver, which I'm going to take the handles off of and put on files. I also got this hacksaw because I need a hacksaw. Going to be refurbishing that. And this ball peen hammer head. I gave $5 for all that. I didn't think that was too bad. And the next thing that I got was a handle and a wedge for the ball peen hammer. And I got these 3 angled screwdrivers. I can't remember what they're called. Machinist screwdrivers. Needs to be cleaned up. They wanted $13. These were zip tied together. They wanted $13 for them. I told them there was no way I was paying $13 for it. They could keep it. I ended up paying $10 for all of these items. And I can't make out the words on this, but I think this is a ratcheting screwdriver. I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a lever and you can ratchet it the other way. Definitely needs to be cleaned up. Thought it was cool, so I got it. Now, that lady's booth and this gentleman's booth, I picked up these scissors because my wife was saying that she needed some nice scissors, and they were nicer than the scissors I had found the previous day. Those 2 booths, I could have spent a day just digging through bins, and I'll roll in photos and stuff of the bins and the tables that these 2 booths had. I didn't. I'm going to have to go back on my own because my wife was getting very tired at this point. But these scissors, he had them marked at $12. I was digging through, he had a whole bunch of them hanging on a shelf. I'm sorry, a pegboard. Some of them were marked, what was it marked? Well, these were blemished, so most of them did not have markings. I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember. I saw one of them that did have a marking on it, and Singer, like the sewing machine. He said these came from the Arkansas factory before they moved to Mexico. Whether any of that's true, I don't know. But I didn't give him $12 for them. I gave him $8, and they cut really well and just need to be cleaned up a little bit. The ones that actually said Singer on it, they were quite a bit more rusty. And out of 2 dozen that he had hanging on the wall, they were the only pair identical. They just had a stamp that said Singer. Okay, I am going to move to my 2 biggest purchases. This is the one I told you I'd get back to. Oh, I definitely did not need this, but I thought it was super cool, so I got it. I don't know if it's going to fit in the frame, but it is a vintage snap-on clock, and it works. It's still keeping time. He wanted $85 for it, and I ended up giving him $70. He would not come down any lower, but I thought it was cool, and I had just put up some signs behind me the other day with alien tape. Those are going to be a booger to get off, but they're coming down and this is going up. So that was not a necessity. I just thought it was cool, and so I bought it. Well, who says that any of this stuff is a necessity, right? Second to last thing that I got that I probably paid a little bit too much for was a transition plane. It is a Stanley. It's actually in really decent shape. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but it is nice. I have been looking at these off and on, especially the one with this pattern. I just think that's gorgeous. I've seen them go on eBay anywhere from, depending on the day and who's bidding on it, of course, I've seen them go anywhere from $35 to over $100. He wanted $60 for it. He would not come off the price. I tried, but because it was the only thing I bought for him, he was dead set on 60 is what he's asking, and he'll get it from the next guy if I don't get it. So I've been looking at one for 7-8 months. This is the nicest one I've seen in a while. So I gave him 60 bucks for it. Everything works on it really smooth. Like I said, it needs to be cleaned up, but that's going to be another project. So transition plane, Stanley. The very last thing that I got today was this original drawing. Wasn't looking for it. We just happened to stumble across the gentleman as we were leaving, and he was a teacher. He was not an art teacher. He is just retired and has found joy in this hobby of his of drawing. I saw this lineman drawing. For those of y'all that don't know, my grandfather and my father both retired from the phone company, and I had to have it. He added their names to the drawing, and he said if I come back after I find out their years of service, he'll add that to it as well. Yeah, that's probably something I can pencil in, but he was very cool to offer that at no charge. $15, and I was happy to have it. This gentleman was super nice, very cool, and his artwork was amazing. I will roll in some photos and some videos of the other artwork that he had. I will definitely be going back to see him. One last thing, it's not a purchase, it's just a suggestion. If you go on a hot summer day, make sure you bring some gloves. Some of the tools that were out in the open were so hot that I could not touch them for more than a few seconds. They were just burning hot. I'm glad I had gloves. I also brought some Neverdull to clean up some markings so I could see what manufacturers were, and some Scotch-Brite. And for the tools that were in the shade and were rusty that I did not need gloves for, some wet ones to clean your rusty hands afterwards. Just a little tidbit of information for any of you who may not have done this before. This was my first time in, like I said, 11 years, and I'm glad I brought these few items. So before I roll in any photos or videos that I took, I'm not trying to sell First Monday Trades Days, but it is very cool. It was a fun 2 days. I think they open up normally on, most vendors said they got there on Thursday and then leave sometime around Sunday, usually around 5, depending on weather. Some of them left early today because there was a chance of rain. But if you go, spend a couple of days. Like I said, we spent 2 days, a total of 18 hours, and we only saw a fraction of it. I met people from the surrounding states, of course, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico. I met a lady from California, a couple from Florida. There was a couple from Virginia, and a couple from Iowa or Idaho, I can't remember. But people come from all over the United States to go to First Monday Trades Days in Canton. It's a blast. If you're into antiquing, looking for knickknacks, flea markets, it's all there. Anything you could possibly dream of finding, you will probably find it there. So without any further ado, I'm going to roll in some footage and some photos. Thanks for tuning in. So this is First Monday Trades Days in Canton. You see a bunch of pavilions. I'll go back to those in a second. That is downtown Canton and the main strip. Parking. I honestly think the birds were trying to take out my drone. More pavilions and parking. Behind those pavilions, up the hill in those trees, is what they call the mountain. There's other vendors over there as well. I'm going to pan over and go to the other side of the road. Across the road, all those little tents that you see, all those little buildings, a lot of tools, a lot of knickknacks, but that area was where I found the bins and bins, just endless tools that I could have spent an entire day digging through tools for just 2 vendors, and it was full of vendors like that. panning over to this area, this is mostly animals, a few tools. Again, downtown Canton. Back to the birds trying to take out my drone. All these pavilions, mostly knickknacks and clothes and furniture and just anything you can think of, knives, everything, all the way past the pavilions to the left, vendors, more pavilions as we pan to the right, vendors towards the back, in the background, down the road to the left. The next building you saw was actually another pavilion. Just tools and knickknacks as far as you can see. More than you can even look at in a weekend. It's interesting, but it's really loose. Just pavilion after pavilion after pavilion. Sections of tents. You could literally spend just a whole week here and not see everything. So I'm so new to all the tool collecting. I'm having to send pictures to guys on Instagram. And one of them, George, just said, "Oh my God, this is awesome. I love shopping with you." So I'm on the hunt for a few things for some guys. I could spend days out here and not see everything.
I like the tools and you know
You got.
it seems like like the wood plane. I like the one I got.
Hey, there's wheels.
Just absolutely, absolutely amazing work. This has got to be the highlight of the day. All hand drawn by this man.